morning, squad. Happy Monday. Welcome back to MadMizzy Sports Morning Show, the number one spot for everything sports talk, sports news, sports debate in the morning. And of course, y'all know we got to come back with a crazy lineup since I missed my Friday show. And we had a wild weekend and wild slate of competition ever since Thursday night. So let's take it back to Thursday night to start it off. Then we're going to break down the Sunday recap. We got the Eagles rolling, Patrick Mahomes looking like Patrick Mahomes on Sunday Night Football. And is Geno Smith playing just as well as Russell Wilson so far this season? Can he sustain it? That's the major question. Then, of course, I'm going to break down the Monday Night Football game tonight. And then you got Terence Crawford and Errol Spence not going through with the mega fight. Come on, man. Come on. Okay, so since I missed my Friday episode, this is episode 24 of MadMizzy Sports Morning Show. We got to take it back to Thursday night and the injury to Tua Tagovailoa, the fallout from that injury and what that means for the NFL moving forward. So if you saw the Thursday Night Football game, you seen Tua Tagovailoa take a vicious hit to the ground, had another head injury that caused temporary paralysis or whatever you call that, where the arms get disfigured and they can't control themselves and all that. Then he got carted off the field, taken to an area hospital, was released later on that night and got to travel back home with the Miami Dolphins. But with that happening, you have the non-team physician doctor that let Tua Tagovailoa go back on the field, not in Thursday's game, but the Sunday before that in Week 3 game where he got a head injury and he got fired. To me, this is just an indication that no matter what they're trying to put in as far as protocols to protect the players and to promote player safety, they're still emphasizing and they're still prioritizing winning games. You get what I'm saying? How do y'all, I don't care what Mike McDaniel say, and that's my guy. He was the coach of the San Francisco, assistant coach for the Niners last year. That's my guy. He's a brilliant mind. But how do you let him come back into the game Sunday and then play him that Thursday night? How do you let that happen when you seen this man could barely walk after that hit on a Sunday game? Why do you bring him back into the game? And then not only that, you started him Thursday. Come on, man. Now, for the physician and for the people that deal with that stuff, yes, they got to take a brunt of that. But of course, you know they feeling the pressure. You get what I'm saying? They feeling the pressure to label those injuries as something else. That's the big part. Those dudes aren't, you know what I'm saying, going through medical school and all this stuff and getting degrees in physical education just to go out there and say, no, this ain't that. No, it's when they get into a certain profession or they get into a certain field or they get behind these mega conglomerates with major money and they start to feel certain pressures. Just like these pharmacists that pass along any old drug. You get what I'm saying? They start to feel pressure to get these things passed so they can keep that money rolling in. They got a lot of student loans to pay back. So that to me is just like the NFL has to do so much more to protect the player's safety. That's probably starting with the coaches and the mentality. You get what I'm saying? That tough Tony stuff, like when Jay Cutler sat on the bench and they was like, oh, he ain't come back in the... If he feels as though he can't come back in the game, he can't come back in the game. Because if a player pulls himself, oh, is he soft, he does that in the third. You get what I'm saying? But then y'all can skew certain injuries for a person like Tua to put himself in further harm's way like he did. And we don't know what that hit is going to have as far as the lasting effect on Tua Tagovailoa, which it probably will have some lasting effects, but I pray that it doesn't. Moving on, let's recap yesterday, Sunday's slate of games, and my big three takeaways from this slate of games. We got the Eagles and how they just rolled. To me, they are clearly the best team from top to bottom in the NFL. The way they just dominated the Jaguars. The Jaguars are a good team. You could tell that the rain and the weather kind of got to Jacksonville. But y'all from Florida, where the storm came from. So they should have been able to have ample time to prepare for this weather. So I'm not giving them no pass on that. They came out, they punched the Eagles in the mouth 14-0 at the first quarter. And the Eagles still end up winning the game dominantly. So their ability to run the ball, their ability to hit certain big plays and big moments makes me think that they are a team to be reckoned with, not just in the NFC, but in the entire NFL. And the even kill and the calmness that Jalen Hurts has as a quarterback, even when things go awry, is what's going to keep them level-headed. You get what I'm saying? Like, the dude is just cool as a cucumber, as they say. Cool as a cucumber. Let's move into the Sunday Night Football game, though. Patrick Mahomes, what a bounce-back game. And I just got to say this. We got to stop nitpicking at this dude, man. Like they were saying yesterday, you just look at his resume. Every year he's been a starter in the NFL. He's reached at least the AFC Championship game, been to 2 Super Bowls, 1 MVP, 1 Super Bowl MVP, 1 Super Bowl championship. Like, come on, dog. Nitpicking that, oh, he plays this, he plays that. He plays the game the way he knows how to play it, and it's effective. And he doesn't put himself in harm's way like that. Like that run outside, he spun, stepped back, flipped the ball. That's Patrick Mahomes. You get what I'm saying? That's Patrick Mahomes, and that's what makes him special is those breakdown plays, those side angles, and the way he's able to throw at different angles and still put so much on the ball so it can get to his spot with the accuracy. So to me, Patrick Mahomes just came out and made another grand statement that this is just the beginning. You get what I'm saying? This is just and let's go into Geno Smith and Russell Wilson. To me, I don't want to give too much props to Geno Smith because I'm going to say this. He almost wasn't the starter coming into this year. If Drew Lock doesn't get hurt in the preseason, he's probably not the starter. Yes, he's starting off pretty good. He's 2-2. His 2 wins are against the Broncos, the Detroit Lions, whose defense is absolutely garbage. They can't stop a nosebleed. So for me, I'm not too impressed, and I don't want to say that it's looking the same as with Russ because Russ was an NFC West killer. So we got to see what Geno Smith can do in that NFC West before we say, oh, he's similar to Russell Wilson or see, they didn't need Russ. No, you get what I'm saying? Let's see, because we punched him in his mouth. And guess what the Broncos did the next week? They beat us. You feel what I'm saying? Now, Russell Wilson didn't have a great game, but he did have that final last drive. You get what I'm saying? And that's what something that Russ always did in that NFC West was sort of, kind of always make a way. So we'll see if Geno Smith can keep playing at this pace and if he can play an entire season. And then if he can get some wins in that NFC West, then I'll say, okay, they didn't need Russ and they shouldn't have paid Russ because clearly what they needed was somebody to just manage the game. And Russ is more than just a game manager. But for me so far, yes, they're playing equal, but I want to see Geno once there's expectations. I want to see Geno against that NFC West, and I want to see Geno over an entire year, not just in 4 games. So let's move on to Monday Night Football. My San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Rams, one of the greatest rivalries in the sport right now. What's my prediction? What's my big matchup tonight? My big matchup tonight is going to be, of course, how the San Francisco offensive line without Trent Williams will be able to handle Aaron Donald and that defensive line in Los Angeles Rams. If we can't get the run game going and we got to rely on Jimmy G, although he's 6-0 against the Rams, I do not see that boding well. We've seen how it looked when the Rams stopped our run game and put the game in Jimmy G's hands. We can barely move the ball. We can barely score the ball. So I'm looking for us to get the game going. I'm looking for Deebo Samuels to have a huge game as he usually does against the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm looking for a bounce back win for us. Yes, I see Jimmy G going 7-0 against the Rams in the regular season. I'm gonna say 24-20 San Francisco tonight against the Los Angeles Rams. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. Deebo time. But before we get out of here, let's talk on this Spence versus Bud fight contract situation. Now, I knew something was fishy with Bud versus Spence when they said they agreed to contractual terms when the news first dropped that they was going to have this mega fight, because any other time that people agree to a fight, it's like, all right, they agreed to terms to a fight, boom. They talk about they agreed to contractual terms, and I from there, I just knew that the contract wasn't going to get signed. It was some hidden language in there that somebody's going to find once they lawyers read into it, and somebody's not going to like it, and that's what happened. So to me, this is just another indication that this fight is probably not going to happen when it should happen. They're going to be completely out of their primes when they fight each other, if they fight each other. I'm looking at it as like, if they don't fight right now, it's no point of even fighting each other later on down the line. Like, it'll be irrelevant. It's not like Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd, where they're two of the greatest welterweights ever. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, we'll still see it when y'all in y'all 40s. No. Spence and Bud is just like, if we don't get it now, like, I know fans are going to pick sides, and me, I'm going to still say that I don't think it's Bud that's not willing to take this fight, but it's also like, especially for Spence, bro, what has he done in his career? Because you clearly see that class of welterweights was a little bit overrated when you think about Thurman, and you think about Porter. So when you think about Porter and Thurman being a little bit overrated, and then Errol Spence not fighting Crawford unified a division before. He was a lineal champion before. So I think to me this is going to hit Spence's legacy a lot harder if he doesn't take this fight, because he was the one that was making excuse after excuse after excuse. He's the one that ran out of the arena once Bud knocked out Porter. So yeah, man, Spence, to me, if he doesn't make this fight, he's going to take a huge hit to his legacy, because he needs Bud on his resume. Who have you beaten that's a legend, that's a legacy changer? Nobody. He hasn't beaten anybody that's a legacy changer. So to me, Spence, he needs this fight, but I don't see it happening. I think Bud's going to stand on his 10 toes and demand that he earn some type of guaranteed money instead of just a pay-per-view split. So I don't see it happening. I'm very disappointed, especially with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua not having that fight. We were just super excited a couple weeks ago about boxing, just for boxing to show us why UFC is taking over the game and why boxing has faltered from a top sport to what? Maybe the top 5 sport. You feel what I'm saying? A top 5 sport. When you think about Bud and Spence being two of the top athletes in boxing, they net worth is both around like 8-10 million. Something that mid-level NBA players make every year. You feel what I'm saying? Mid-level. Not the top players in the NBA, not the top tennis players, not the top golf players. That's what the top boxers make, because y'all don't want to fight each other. Look at that. Look at that. So y'all should be worth way more, but y'all refuse to take the big fights that people are going to pay the money to see. That's as simple as it gets. But y'all know what it is. It's MadMizzy Sports Morning Show, Monday edition. Happy Monday. Let's have a productive, strong week this week. And yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, listen, alert. MizzyWorld Entertainment. Gang.